warriors, and welcome to another video. Today's video will be about gaslighting, and I will try not to get too emotional in this video, but I can't promise you guys anything because gaslighting has happened to me. And sometimes I forget how cruel it actually is. Sometimes I forget how severe the consequences of gaslighting are. If you were gaslighted as a kid or even as an adult, and the abuse goes on for a while, even when you leave the abuser, you're still gonna be affected by it daily. And the consequences are so severe that I get emotional if I think about it, because you have to be a very evil person to ever want to do that to another human being. And as I was preparing this video and doing a bit of research, I also discovered some stuff that actually explains some problems that I am still encountering on a daily basis. And I was never able to find an explanation for it, and I was even never able to explain to other people how I feel at certain times. And I got really emotional because now I feel like I can explain what I feel like in certain situations, and I can also give an explanation for why I feel this way. Now that I have this explanation, I can actually start doing something about it with the help of my therapist. So I'm really excited about this video. And if you have been gaslighted in the past, then you should definitely keep watching, because some of the information that I'm going to share with you might change your life forever, because some of the information that I'm going to share in this video might solve a few mysteries for you. So I hope my video can actually help people out there who are being abused or who have been abused. So first, let's talk about what gaslighting actually is. It's a type of emotional abuse. Someone who is gaslighting will try to make a targeted person doubt their perception of reality. The gaslighter may convince the target that their memories are wrong or that they are overreacting to a certain event. So it's an abusive tactic aimed to make a person doubt their own thoughts and feelings. The process is often gradual, chipping away the person's confidence and self-esteem. Now, as I was doing the research for this video, I read the following and it just sent shivers down my spine. Because in previous videos, I've talked about how I am just allergic to uncertainty. I cannot stand uncertainty. I will just binge. I can't take it. And here it says, gaslighting is an insidious form of abuse that thrives on uncertainty. A person can grow to mistrust everything they hear, feel, and remember. And I know that the link may seem far-fetched. I mean, I have described in previous videos how I always binge in order to cope with the anxiety I feel when I feel like the number on the scale isn't going down fast enough. And I described how I cannot handle with the uncertainty. I just want to know, is it going to be okay, yes or not? But the thing is that I know in my heart that if I just exercise every day and if I just eat healthy and I don't binge, that I will achieve my goal weight. Yet for some reason, I am too afraid to trust on my own judgment. And I think it may seem far-fetched, but I think that that's a consequence of the gaslighting as well. It affects everything. But before we get further into all of the possible consequences of gaslighting and how it may affect your personal life, let's just look at some examples of gaslighting, because I can give you a few. Like I said, I have been gaslighted throughout my whole childhood. And while it was happening, I didn't even know it was happening. All I remember was that I was really frustrated and confused because My abuser would do and say things when I was alone with him, and if I would confront him about it afterwards, or if I would tell my mom about it afterwards, he would gaslight me, and he would just say that I either remembered it wrong, or that it just never happened, or that I was twisting his words, or that I was overreacting to the situation because it actually didn't happen like I said it happened. He would claim that my perception of the reality is completely distorted. All kinds of stuff to gaslight me. So here are some detailed examples. My abuser once dragged me from the toilet, and where we lived we had 2 toilets. One toilet in the bathroom and one smaller toilet downstairs. And my abuser would feel entitled to everyone and to everything. So he called himself the silverback gorilla. And he even once told me seriously, like not joking, Elke, I'm the silverback gorilla. You have to do everything I say, because you know what silverback gorillas are and what they do in nature. And I was like, no, because I was a 9-year-old kid. What did I know about silverback gorillas? He was like, the silverback gorilla is the one with the silver back, and it's the leader of the pack. And he's the strongest and the smartest and the blah, 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 blah. And all of the other family members have to do exactly as he says. And those who don't get killed by the silverback gorilla. He just beats them to death. And you know, that was a serious threat to make me understand that if I wouldn't do what he told me to do, if I wouldn't listen, he would beat the crap out of me. And I took that threat very seriously. So anyway, he felt entitled to everyone and everything. So he also felt like he should always go to the best toilet, even when other people were sitting on it. So this one time I was feeling kind of sick, and I heard him coming upstairs, and I was already starting to get anxious, and I just opened the door and I was like, hey, do you have to use the toilet because I'm sitting on it, I'm a bit sick? And he was like, get off of it, get off my toilet, get off, I have to go. And I was like, yeah, I'm really sorry, but I can't stop right now, I'm really sick, I have diarrhea, I'm so sorry, but I will be done in just a minute, please, I'm so sorry. And you know, he started to yell, and you know, all hell broke loose, and he just opened the door, took me by the arm and just dragged me off of the toilet while I was, you know, still doing stuff, which was, not only was it violent, it was also incredibly humiliating. And even though I was a teenager and I was already used to a lot of crap that actually wasn't normal, I kind of realized in that particular situation, like, okay, this isn't normal, but I couldn't do anything about it. So a few years later, we went into family therapy, and I told the therapist in front of the abuser that this happened. And to be honest, I expected him to just deny it, but he didn't even deny it. It was creepy, actually. He just stayed like this, and we all waited for him to react, and he was like, I can't remember that. Okay, if that's not a psychopath, I don't know. And then he would take it a step further. He would say in front of the therapist, trying to convince her that I was insane, he would say, you know, it's really weird, it's funny. You've always had this, even as a little child. It seems like you often remember things that didn't even happen. And sometimes you remember things wrong. And I think that has something to do with your mental disability. Because that's another thing. My abuser, since I was 9 years old, would try to convince me that I was mentally disabled, that there was something wrong with me. And yeah, there wasn't anything wrong with me. I did had learning troubles learning problems in school, but that was because I had ADHD, which we didn't know at the time. But it wasn't because I was mentally disabled. Hello. But he did try to convince me of the fact that I was mentally disabled and not normal. And he always used that when he wanted to gaslight me. So that's example number one of gaslighting. The abuser will say he doesn't remember the event, and or he might even add to that there's something wrong with you, there's something wrong with your perception or with your memories or with the way you think. Now let's look at another example of gaslighting, and this was really, really insidious. I was a teenager and I had been studying in my room for a few hours, and in the meanwhile my mom was making pizza in the oven. But I think she forgot to turn the hood on, and there must have been some dirt or something from cooking earlier dinners in the oven, because when I got downstairs and I opened the door, the whole living room was full of smoke. And of course I was like, my eyes, became all watery because of the smoke and stuff. And my abuser was looking at me like this. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, you were disoriented for a few seconds, weren't you? And I was like, yeah, because there's smoke all over the place. Oh yeah, mom's cooking pizza, okay. And he was like, yeah, I noticed that you have a difficulty knowing when things are real and when they aren't, right? And I was like, what the fuck? No, I don't. You have a hard time sometimes distinguishing reality from, imagination, don't you? You were disoriented because you didn't know if the air around you was even real. And I was like, what the fuck? No, it's normal if you don't expect a room you're gonna enter to be full of smoke. It's normal to be like, whoa, what the fuck? That is normal, you motherfucker. What the fuck? That is so twisted. And I was so confused at that time, because I was like, what? Why does he think that way? Why? Just why? Why would he? He was acting as if he knew me better than I knew myself. And I was like, what? I did not know it was a form of mental abuse. All I knew was that I was frustrated and confused about why he would say those things, because it didn't seem normal to me. No one else in my environment ever spoke to me like that. No one else in my environment tried to convince me that I was stupid, retarded, mentally disabled, or whatever. But now that I know what gaslighting is, I actually realized that what he was doing was very smart for a psychopath. He tried to convince me that I was crazy, even in moments where we didn't have a discussion or a fight. He did this day in, day out to slowly but surely make me question my own sanity. Do you guys see how evil this is? How cruel this is? And because my abuser was someone very close to me, it was one of my primary caregivers, it was a person who was supposed to love me and care for me. And because he was supposed to care about me and want the best for me, I still started to think after a while, like, why would he lie? Why would he try to hurt me? He loves me. He should love me. So maybe there is something wrong with me, but that can't be right. I know there's not anything wrong with me. I know that what I am seeing, hearing, smelling is real. I know that I'm not crazy, but he should love me. I mean, he would never try to hurt me, right? Because that wouldn't be normal. That wouldn't be normal. That can't be true. So you see what's going on? So after years and years of this abuse, I was left with the feeling that I was worth nothing, that I am weird, not normal, that I can't achieve anything, and that there is something wrong with me, that I am different from other people. You just start to feel like an alien. You feel alienated. It's one of the typical symptoms of mental abuse. Another example is the time he would tell me, you know, Elke, you think everyone loves you, but they don't. I've noticed that you see life through pink glasses. And by that I mean that you think everything is beautiful and happy and good, and you think that people like you because they smile at you, but when they smile at you, they don't mean it. Behind your back, they are talking about you, they don't love you, but you just can't see it. That's because of your mental disability. But I can see it, so I can protect you. So you should always stay with me, and I will guide you through life, because you can't go through life alone, on your own. You can't, because you're too different from other people, honey. You're too different, and it's not your fault, but you should know this, because I care about you and I don't want you to get hurt. And I noticed that you are convinced that people really like you and that they accept you for who you are, but they don't, because they just see that you are way too different. You don't act like a normal person, and you don't notice this yourself. How could you know this? Because if you're born different, then you don't know that you're different. But other people see it, they notice it, and they don't like you, they don't accept you. They're just polite. So that's another brainwashing moment of his. Another example. I already left the abuser, but I went to visit him. Because at that time I didn't really know yet that I had been abused for such a long time. I just didn't know that it was abuse. And I was always trying to fix our relationship. I was always trying to get his approval, trying to do good, of which I now know that it has no use. But okay, back then I didn't know that. So I went to visit him, and I was alone with him, and he was like, "Oh, how are you?" And I was like, "Great." And he was like, "And how's work?" And I was like, "Yeah, great, but I think I might start looking for another job, because I just think it's time for something different." And he was like, "I wouldn't do that if I were you." And I was like, "Why?" And I expected him to give me a logical, normal answer, like, for example, well, economically, it's not going well here in Belgium. It's not going well. It's not a good time to leave your job because there aren't a lot of job opportunities right now. Something like that. But no, I didn't expect this kind of answer, and I guess that's why it hurt so much. He told me, it's not a good idea, because at the job you are at now, they accept you even though you are way too different. They accept you in spite of your mental disability. And you're so lucky that you have found such a place, because it's very rare. But you do well there, because the setting of the company, is great for someone like you. But if you go for another job, they will never accept you. And even if they do, you will never get through the testing period. I don't know how you say this in English, but there's always a period of 6 months in which they can fire you if you're not doing well, and after 6 months you get a contract, which gives you more security. So he said, you're never going to make it through your testing period. You're never gonna get through those 6 months, because you're just way too different, and people are gonna notice right away. you're just not able to get another job and do well there because of your mental disability, blah, 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 blah. And I was so hurt to the core. But I kind of sucked it up and was just like, oh, okay. And a few minutes later, my mom got home. And we were watching TV. And I'm sorry, I'm going to cry right now. I knew this would happen. You know, I tried to suck it up, but it hurt so bad what he said. Because even though in my heart I knew that all of the shit he said wasn't true, you still start to believe it on a certain level after years and years of being brainwashed into thinking that you are an alien, you know? And we were watching TV and just tears started to pour down my eyes. And I was trying to not show them. I was trying to not show the people around me that I was crying, but they noticed anyway. And my mom was like, honey, what's wrong? And I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to start a calm conversation with the abuser. And so I very politely and carefully started to explain, you know, just a few minutes ago, you told me this and this and that, and that really hurt my feelings. It makes me feel like an alien, and it really hurts when you say that. And I also don't believe it's true. And he just exploded. He got so freaking angry. And I later learned that that is called narcissistic rage. Like a narcissist can explode just like that and go from 0 to 1,000 on the anger scale. And they will get angry for the stupidest things, things normal people wouldn't even get angry about. So at that point, you know, he denied it. He started yelling, I didn't say that, I didn't. And as I kept telling, yeah, I'm sorry, but you did. I mean, don't you remember? You said it like this and you said this and you explained it like this. And I tried to just have a rational conversation, but it was impossible. And he was like, I never said that. And like, my mom was like, she was so scared. And as I was trying to make him see how he was hurting me, he got so angry that he threatened me. And he was like, get out before I kick your ass out. And, you know, I knew that that was a very serious threat because I had been living with him for years and years. So I knew that I should take it seriously, and I just ran. And when I got to the street, when I was around the corner, when I felt a bit safer, I almost had to throw up because I was so hurt. I was so hurt to the core. And, you know, it's impossible to have a rational conversation with a narcissist or someone who is gaslighting you because he's a mental abuser. You will never win because they are not normal and they are trying to hurt you intentionally, so you can never win. He will never say you're right. He will never be honest. You are trying to be sincere, but that person isn't sincere. He is insincere to the core, so you'll never win the battle, ever. You will never be able to prove him wrong. It just has no use. And until you realize that, you're screwed. The only solution to deal with such toxic people is to just say bye, turn around, and never look back. Just go no contact. They are poison. They want you dead. They want to destroy you because, well, that's a topic for another video, but that's basically what is going on. They want to destroy you. Now, I just want to talk about something weird that happens to me, and I feel like the gaslighting could explain it. Sometimes I will get a worrying thought, just like anyone else would, you know. And I will think a positive thought to correct the worrying thought, just like other people would do. But instead of believing the positive, correct thought and acting on it, I am unable to trust my own judgment and my own positive thoughts. It's like there's this feeling or a little voice inside of me that keeps saying, yeah, you think that's the right thing to do or the right solution or the right thought, but your judgment is off. You are unable to think right because you're different than other people, so there's something wrong with you, so you are unable to make the right decisions. So yeah, and that's why I feel I'm always unable to talk myself down from a binge, because I know how to correct my eating disorder thoughts, but because of this little voice, I never allow myself to act on them, to act on the right thoughts. But I never made the link between the gaslighting and this self-doubt. And I feel like now that I know that that is probably the reason, just by realizing it, I feel like maybe from now on I will be able to allow myself to believe my own correct positive thoughts and to act on them. Because I know if I do that, I will achieve my goals, but I never achieve my goals because I never believe my positive thoughts, right thoughts. So I feel like I haven't achieved anything in life because I never followed my intuition or my correct thoughts, because I always doubted myself, even though I kind of know deep down in my heart that I shouldn't doubt myself. And the thing is, gaslighting also makes you doubt your intuition, and most victims of mental abuse end up not following their intuition anymore, which make them seem so dangerously naive. And the thing is, those people usually aren't naive, but they seem naive because they don't follow their intuition. They go straight against their intuition. And I did that for years and years and years, and it often got me in a whole lot of trouble. And I've learned through a couple of YouTube videos that that is also very, very common. You have a really good gut feeling, but you just deny it. You're just like, yeah, okay, I'm just gonna put it aside because that is what you have been taught from a very young age to do. Don't listen to your gut. You're wrong. You aren't able to make the right conclusions. Your perception is wrong, So for me, it explains a lot. I'm gonna end this video here because it's probably way too long already, but I'm definitely gonna make other videos about gaslighting, especially about the consequences and the aftermath, I hope you guys found this video useful. If you did, give it a big thumbs up and let me know in the comments down below what you're struggling with. Share your story and we can just help each other out, so you can leave any comment you want, and I just hope this video can help someone out there. Okay, I will see you later, warriors. Bye!